Hello there, and welcome to today's yoga session, coming straight to your screens from my living room. Anyway, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Milan, and I'll be leading you through today's session. So in keeping with the theme of today's times, I'm going to go for more of like a heart-centric and like a quite energy-intensive session today, just to get people moving indoors, because it's so easy when you're spending all day inside just to get too stagnated and stand too still. So to compensate for that, it's going to be a bit more energetic today, but obviously if it starts to detract from your practice and your awareness and the breath, you can always go into the child's pose or modify the posture towards your own physical needs. And since I can't physically see you today, so I'm counting on you to make sure that you don't make any pre-existing injuries worse. So if something is very wrist intensive, very shoulder intensive, or you've got something with your neck, just try to adjust the posture towards your own needs, or just sit this one out and focus on the child's pose. Because even if we are being slightly more energy intensive, the primary goal of yoga, as always, is just to build your awareness of the present moment and to connect your mind to the breath and to the body. And I'd also like to thank Rachel, by the way, for being the very first person to do one of these video sessions. I think it's really awesome that she took that leap and was the first one to do that. And without further ado, let's start today's class with a nice little heart chakra, heart energy meditation. So get into your comfortable position, whether that be lying down or seated, but for the purpose of today's class, preferably seated, maybe on a pillow or a block if you've got it available, just somewhere that you can comfortably spend this time. And we're just going to start off by bringing the body to rest and to allow us to enter into this meditative state of mind. Bring the body to rest to bring the mind to rest. So we're going to take, let's say, about 5 rounds of consciously deep breathing. So in through the nose, and out through the mouth. So since you're in your own room, I assume, you can make as much noise as you want. So just make it a nice loud sigh and just like, you see you're letting go of all of that tension. Got a couple more breaths going. So in, and out. So with each round, we're going to be spending a little bit more time building the breath and releasing it. So we're trying to increase the gaps between the peak and the trough of the breath. So about 3 more left. Taking as much air as possible. And final breaths in and out. And returning to normal nasal breathing now. Allowing your breath to enter into a slow and steady rhythm. So we're not trying to focus too much on the breath now. And then transitioning to the next phase of the meditation. So you can close your eyes now and just take in the audio landscape around you. So you're trying to expand your senses beyond the eyes into the space around you. Just noticing what pops up into your field of consciousness. Whether that be birds, cars in the background, any conversations going on in the room next door, maybe your heating's on and you can hear the slight rush of the air going into the elements or the water. But just whatever it is, just trying to pick out all of these individual sensory inputs, creating a sort of map of the space around you. And if you're not so much of an auditory person, you can keep your eyes open for now. Let your vision sort of fuzz out and relax. Just take in the whole picture, seeing like how far towards the edges you can perceive before you have to move your eyes. I'm just going to do that for a little while now. So we're gradually going to move inward with the meditation. So right now, we're just starting with the physical world around us. And when you're ready, I'm going to do a little body scan now. So you can start right at the crown of your head. If you like, you can give yourself a pat or a tap or a rub, just to give yourself a physical anchoring point for this start of this meditation. And if you don't, that's fine too. But we're going to start at the crown of the head, and gradually, at your own pace, we're going to make our way down the body. So we're using the spine as a central point for this awareness, spreading out and down. So we're starting with the face, the ears, just experiencing any tension or emotions that may lay trapped in these body parts. We're not really judging or trying to affect this. We're simply observing whatever pops up. Moving away down through the shoulders and neck, along the arms and the chest. Almost trying to go at the speed of honey dripping off of a spoon. Just really taking your time and exploring your body as if it's the very first time that you've been in it. Because throughout the day it's so easy just to get lost in the processes and the things that we need to do, that we lose touch with our body. Making our way down through the stomach. And eventually allowing our awareness to cover all of the points of contact between ourselves and the mat, experiencing this grounded energy from the earth upon which we stand, from this surface, this connection point through which we can experience the gentle pull of gravity. And through this awareness, allow it to settle the rest of your body, almost as if every molecule in your body is now being pulled down towards this one point, settling down into its base energetic state. As you put every individual component of your system to rest. As always, allowing any sounds and distractions from the external world just to wash over you, as if, like the ground you're sitting upon, you're rock solid and stable. Almost these sounds are water breaking upon a big, sturdy rock. And then moving even further inward with our meditation, bringing our attention towards the breath. And the more attention we pay towards this slow, steady rhythm, the more things you will notice about the breath, whether it be the rise and fall of the ribs, the expansion of all of the muscles that are pushed out by the inhale, or the slight relaxation of the body with the exhale as you release and let go. But we're just going to spend a couple of breaths noticing what pops up into our conscious field. We're not trying to alter the breath in any way whatsoever. We're simply allowing it to do its thing, to go into its own rhythm, letting go of being the active participant in the breath, trying to change it, trying to consciously deepen it or slow it. Instead, just becoming the active observer, trying to fill our entire conscious experience with this process. And when you're ready, turning our attention even further inward, towards the heart center. So it doesn't matter whether you are particularly spiritual or not, or whether you believe in these energy bodies. Now, the most basic sense in focusing upon this point within ourselves and what it represents, we are making a conscious effort. We're setting an intention to bring our conscious energy towards our relationship with others, ourselves, our ability to manifest our emotions and to work through traumas. And as human beings, we're naturally very much problem-solving creatures. So wherever we put our mind to, even if it's just in the background of our subconscious mind, we will slowly work through it and come towards some sort of solution. So even if you're not a very spiritual person, it still helps to bring your conscious energies towards this heart center and what it represents. So if you like, you can press your palms upon your chest, creating a little bit of pressure, using this technique to create a physical anchoring point for this meditation, to allow your attention to come more easily towards this point in your body. And then gradually, we're going to try to connect this focus with the breath. So with each inhale, allowing it to become a bit more intense, a bit more clear, looking and experiencing within yourself. With each exhale, allowing this heart energy to spread through the body. So just depending on how your mind works, this clarity and intensity can take a variety of shapes, whether it be a sense of warmth or a bright white light in the center of your chest. Gradually just connecting it with the breath, allowing this point to expand and to grow with each round of breath. And if in your own awareness this point seems at all too small or blocked or out of place, using the energies of the breath and your attention just to try and right it, to put it back into place, to feed it and nourish it with the energies of the breath. And as your focus increases, you become more aware of this point within yourself. Use your mind to imbue it with the properties that you feel you need the most in your life right now, in your emotional body. So very often we can liken this to the properties of fire, its ability to provide warmth and life, but at the same time to burn away that which might block us, allow us to burn through the blockages in our life, the grudges that we may be holding on to. And if you like, you can imagine your heart now as a great big fire in the center of your chest. And for a moment, reflecting on any sort of grudge that you may be holding in your life that's draining emotional energy from your goals and your ability to work towards things that you really care about. Just throwing those things into your heart, allowing it to dissolve into nothing, to burn up in your emotional furnace. Once you moved away from taking out the negative, you can bring your attention towards the positive. Try and picture somebody in your life. It could be you, or it could be a relative or a friend. And try to picture them in front of you, or at least in some way imagine the experience of having them in close proximity to you. And from this fire within you, try to create a connection from your heart to theirs. And whatever it is that they may need to help them through these times. With each inhale, you're strengthening your own intensity. And with the exhale, you're bringing this gift to them. This warmth and strength and courage from your heart to theirs. For the final breath now, taking a deep breath in, really trying to intensify this mental scenario. And letting go with the exhale, allowing your mind to go blank. Simply just experiencing raw and unfiltered consciousness, whether it be the sounds around you, the feeling of your body, any thoughts that may come and go, just allowing the mind to do what it will. We're going to take this moment between the meditation and the practice just to hone in on your intention for today's practice. Whether it be more energy towards your emotions, your ability to let go and to process, or just focusing on just sitting on the breath, just being more aware of the present moment and your own conscious experience of it. And by whatever that intention is, I invite you throughout today's practice in any moments of stillness, just to refocus and mobilize your efforts towards this goal. And without further ado, we're going to start today's practice sitting down at the front of our mat. In the easy posture, with our legs crossed and our hands resting on our knees. And we're just going to do a couple of rounds of seated cat-cows. So we can start off gently with the inhale, bring our chest forward, bringing our gaze up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, bringing our belly button in towards our spine, tucking our chin towards our chest. And as we go on, just trying to exaggerate this movement more and more. So with each inhale, inhaling even more, really extending out this chest cavity in the stomach. And on the exhale, trying to squeeze even more, pushing your belly button even further into your spine, rounding your shoulders a little bit more. As we try to bring warmth to our spine and to our core. So we're going to do about 10 rounds of this breathing. One round finishing on each exhale. So we're about halfway there now. And with the next inhale, coming back to the center in our easy posture. And from this posture, we're going to roll over our knees into the tabletop, into our all fours. And from this posture, we're not going to take too long. We're going to go straight into the next move. So that is the balancing table, or as I've often described it, just extending alternate limbs and holding them. So hopefully you've got enough room either side of you. We're going to start with the right arm and the left foot. So in your next inhale, you can extend out those limbs, stretching out as almost against two imaginary walls here. And on the exhale, you're going to bring your elbow towards your knee, and we're just going to keep this moving in time with our own breath. You can do this for about 5 breaths. And holding on the next inhale. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and drop. You can shake out the supporting arm and leg just for a second as we prepare to swap over to our left hand and right leg this time. So when you're ready, lifting on the inhale and coming in on the exhale. Doing 5 rounds again. And holding. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and drop. So once again, you can spend a little time shaking out the arm and legs, maybe taking on some water. And eventually all finding ourselves in our tabletop here. Just taking note to make sure that our hands are below our shoulders and our knees are below our hips. And we're doing this just to prepare for our first downward facing dog of the sequence. So really press the L shape of your hand into the mat. Try and shift the weight towards this because you're not so much moving back onto your feet, but you're pushing yourself back with your arms into this downward facing dog. So deep breath in to prepare, point your toes towards the mat, and on the exhale, coming back into your downward facing dog. So we're just going to bend one knee at a time, just to loosen up the hamstrings a little. Give ourselves a chance to warm up into the posture. So we're trying to bring our heart towards the mat here. So if you can't quite do this with straight legs, you can just bend the legs a little, just to give yourself some more wiggle room in terms of the upper body. And we're going to walk our feet towards the front of our mat, coming into our first Uttanasana of the sequence, our standing forward fold. Inhale up and exhale into Tadasana. So you can start off by finding your Tadasana, bringing your feet together, connecting all of the corners of your foot towards the mat. So you can lift your toes up and spread them out, gripping them to the mat. And you tilt your pelvis down a little bit, straining the upper body, shoulders back, chin up, eyes forward, Tadasana. So we're going to do 2 rounds of Sun Salutation A now, before doing a couple of plank walkouts, then working our way into classical, doing another exercise, and then finally finishing the Sun Salutation sequence with B as the most energy intensive. So if you'd like to join me at the front of your mat in your Tadasana, we're going to inhale straight up. We're not leaning back until we do the classical variation. Exhale, fold forward, touch your toes if you can. Inhale into your halfway lift, making a nice L shape out of your body. And exhale, feet back into your plank. Lower yourself down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. So trying to bring your shoulders away from your ears. Exhale into your downward facing dog for 5 breaths. So as we're holding this for slightly longer, allowing your mind to return to your breath and to your central focus. Okay, inhale, bend your knees to prepare here. You can walk or hop. Into the exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale down. Inhale all the way up. And Tadasana. Taking 1 round of rest. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk or hop back into your plank. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra, depending on your back flexibility. Exhale, downward facing dog. Once again, just staying here for 5 breaths. Okay, inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, all the way up. And Tadasana. Now we're going to do 5 rounds of plank walks. So we're going to start off in a similar way to our sun salutation. Going to inhale up, exhale, standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk or hop into your plank. So we're going to hold this for a little bit. And on the exhale, we're going to try to walk our hands back towards our feet. Come to a forward fold. Inhale, up and back if you've got no chandelier in the way. And exhale, hands down again. Inhale, walk your feet forward. So walk hands forward. Hold the breath. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, push up. And exhale, walk your hands back towards your feet. Inhale up. Exhale, down. Coming forward. Lower. Inhale up. Exhale, come back. Got 3 more left. Inhale up. Don't necessarily have to follow the breath. Just trying to get this movement pattern down. And 2 more. Really opening up the upper body and the chest here. And our final one. And Tadasana. You can walk your way back to the front of the mat again. taking a couple of rounds of breath to rest. And eventually when you're ready, coming into your Tadasana at the front of your mat as we prepare for 3 rounds of classical sun salutations. So always remembering that with the classical variation, you lean back on the little stretch and you always lead with the left foot. It's like one smooth motion with the breath. But as always, if you can't quite keep up with the breath, you may need more breaths or you may need fewer. Just seeing what works for you and eventually working towards this coordination with the breathing. Inhale up and back. Exhale down. Inhale left foot back, grounding that back knee, reaching up into your Anjalyasana. And exhale, hands to the front of the mat. Bring that foot back, hold the breath, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward into your lunge. Exhale, hands either side. Bring that right foot forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, Tadasana. Taking another round of breath. And when you're ready, inhale, up and back. Exhale, down. Inhale, left foot into lunge. Exhale, hands either side into a plank, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward. Exhale, hands there, right foot forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, up. Exhale, Tadasana. Taking a round of breath in between sequences again. Finding ourselves in our Tadasana. And next, inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Hold the breath, knees, chest, chin. Inhale into your cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot lunge. Exhale, hands either side of the foot, coming into Uttanasana. Inhale, up and back. And exhale, Tadasana. Okay, so from your Tadasana, you can widen your stance slightly as we prepare for the garland pose. So deep breath in, straighten the upper body. You can pinch your shoulder blades together a little bit just to support your upper body. And exhale, lowering down, trying to keep your heels grounded here. So it's going to spend a couple of breaths in this posture, just allowing the stretch to work along the hips, the inner thighs, and just preparing the body for the following sequence. Taking a moment maybe to adjust your posture, to fix your body, trying to create a straight line between the crown of your head here and your tailbone. And when you're ready, you can place your hands to the front of the mat, coming into a plank. Deep breath in, exhale, downward facing dog. So now we're going to do a sort of yoga mountain climber. So we're going to start with the right knee, and with each inhale we're going to come forward into a plank, like so, and bring our knee towards either our elbow, our triceps, or our wrist, depending on how strong your core is feeling. And just shuffle back a little bit. And from that, we're eventually going to transition into extended side angle. So we're going to do 10 repetitions on the right side and 10 repetitions on the left side. Just trying to synchronize our movement with the breath. One round of breathing to prepare. And next inhale, bringing that knee forward from your plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. In time with your own breath. About halfway there now. And our final breath, bringing our right foot here to the outside of our right hand, grounding that back foot and reaching up towards the ceiling. And if you like, you can try to come into your bind. Trying to pull your left shoulder blade back towards the wall behind you. Just holding for a couple of rounds of breath. And when you're ready, bringing your hand down towards the mat and bringing your right foot back, exhaling back into your downward facing dog. So if you like at any point, you can just take the child's pose for a little rest. Or you can choose to stay in your downward facing dog. We're going to take about 3 breaths now, either in child's pose or in downward facing dog, to prepare for the other side of the body. Okay, if you're taking the child's pose, point your toes to the ground, and on your next exhale, coming back into your downward facing dog. And without further ado, inhale, left knee, left arm. Exhale, downward facing dog. Do 10 of these. Halfway there. And final breath. Okay, so you've got your left hand on the inside of your left foot here. Inhale, stretch up, opening up the heart center. Maybe giving yourself a little twist here. You're trying to bring your gaze or your drishti up towards the ceiling here, whether you choose to do the bind or not. Allowing your mind to return to the breath and today's intention. And bring your hands back to the center, bringing that left foot back into your plank. And coming back with the exhale into your downward facing dog. And bring your knees to the ground as you come into the child's pose for a little rest. Anyway, if you've made it this far, you're doing alright. And when you're ready, coming back into all fours from the child's pose. And from the child's pose, take a breath to prepare. Point your toes to the mat. Shift the pressure into your hands. And exhale, downward facing dog. Walking your feet to the front of the mat. Standing forward fold. Inhale up. And Tadasana. So now we're going to do 2 rounds of Sun Salutation B. It's going to involve a bit of a warrior flow, as well as holding downward facing dog for about 5 breaths. So coming into your Tadasana, the front of your mat, grabbing the mat with all corners of the feet here. Nice straight back. Inhale, bringing your hands to the ground in your chair pose. Inhale up. Exhale. Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hop or walk into your plank, lowering yourself down, chaturanga, holding the breath. Inhale, upward facing dog, really grounding your feet, the back of your feet into the mat here. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, grounding back foot, coming into your warrior one here. So if your shoulders allow it, your hands should be together above your head. Exhale, hands either side, hold the breath, lowering, inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, grounding that back foot, hips square with the front of the mat, and hands above your head, warrior one. Exhale, hands down, into your plank, lower yourself down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog for 5. With your next breath, preparing, hopping forward into your forward fold. Inhale into your chair, up, 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 and exhale, taking a round of rest in between the sequences. Okay, not wasting too much time. Inhale, hands down into your chair, all the way up. Woo. Exhale, down. If you want, you can bend your knees a little bit so you can touch the ground. Inhale, halfway lift, making an L shape with the body. Exhale, hands down, walk or hop into your plank. Lowering. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, ground that back foot, hips square, warrior one. Exhale, hands down, lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot, warrior one. Exhale, hold the breath, lower. Inhale. Exhale, holding for 5. As always, taking this time to observe the breath, bringing your attention towards your intention. And rather than completing the sequence here, we're going to bring our knees to the ground here. Bring your heels together. You can either keep your knees together here as well for the regular child's pose, or you can bring your knees apart to go into the extended child's pose. Give yourself a bit more hip action here. Extending our hands out into the mat, trying to ground our hips in our heels. And when you're ready, walking your hands over to the right, watching for that point where your left hip wants to move away from the left heel. So you want to try and ground that point and use that sort of as your natural stopping point for this posture. Holding for a couple more breaths, allowing the muscle fibers just to release into this stretch, letting go of any tension. And when you're ready, walking your hands all the way to the other side. Once again, listening to your body for that natural stopping point of the hip wanting to move up from the heels. Again, holding for a few more breaths. And walking your hands back to the center. On your next inhale, coming up into all fours. So since we've got our knees grounded here, we're going to use this for a nice little lunge, a little stretch of the hips and the psoas. So when you're ready, inhale, right foot forward, keeping that left knee on the ground, coming up with your upper body. You can rest your hands on your front knee here and bring your hips down and forward. If you like, you can also bring your hands into this sort of prayer position above your head, just to try and intensify the stretch a little bit more. Bringing your gaze up towards the ceiling. Holding for about 5 breaths. And letting go, coming back into your all fours. Alright, next inhale, left foot forward this time. You can either rest your hands on your knee or your thigh here, like so, or reaching up, bringing your hands together, bringing your gaze up towards the ceiling. Hope you should feel a nice stretch along the upper thighs here and within the hip region. Once again, holding for about 5 breaths, allowing the muscles to adjust to the tension. And letting go, coming back into your all fours. Now point our toes towards the ground with the next exhale, coming back into your downward facing dog, and walking your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale up, and coming into your Tadasana. And so we're just going to do a little balancing sequence here, just to work on the balance a little bit, have a little bit of fun standing up. And today we're going to be doing the tree posture. So depending on your light fixtures, you can open up the tree in whichever way you prefer, or you can just keep it with your prayer mudra here in front of you like this. So first we're going to find our Tadasana, grounding our toes, our hips, shoulders, and then you're just going to bend your right knee as you shift the weight over onto your left foot, and you can choose to rest your foot along the ankle here, or the calf, making sure not to put any weight on the knee joint itself. If you're comfortable, you can rest it slightly higher up. So you're bringing the upper body in line with the hips here. Keep everything else the same, and you're just going to try to push that knee out a little bit, just externally rotating the hips. Have your hands in front of your chest, and with your next inhale, you can open up the tree in whichever way you prefer, room allowing. So you can either have a nice wide canopy or a more narrow one pointing straight up. Finding a nice stable point in the distance, or looking up if you like, if that doesn't throw you off too much. Making sure to allow your shoulders to drift down away from the ears, letting your mind know that you are relaxed and confident. Coming back with your hands in front of your chest, letting go with that right leg, and coming back into your Tadasana. You can shake out the supporting leg a little bit. Coming back to your center, bending the left leg this time, shifting the weight over towards the right. You can start off low, or just go straight into your preferred version. So once again, making everything in line with the hips, and externally rotating that knee. Like so, give yourself a nice little stretch here. Inhale, reach up, and open up into your preferred version of the tree here. Just depending on how much room you have, you can either go straight up, look up, or open out a little bit. You can hold just for a little while. And you may find that one side is considerably better at balancing than the other, but that's fine. As your practice progresses, hopefully you'll gradually be able to work through all the little imbalances within the body. Coming back to the center and letting go. So we're going to come to the front of our mat again with slightly apart feet as we prepare for the garland pose again. So pinch your shoulder blades together here. You can have a nice straight upper body. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower down into your heels, trying to feel the whole weight across your feet here. Just going to once again just sit in the posture, feeling the weight distribution, feeling the gentle stretch of the lower body here. And when we're ready, we're simply going to sit down on the mat. And we're going to prepare to stretch out our legs. So we're going to start off with our right foot extended out, our left foot tucked in here. And as we inhale, we're going to bring the upper body in line with the hips, reaching up. Exhale, twist and fold. You can allow your hands to fall wherever they will along the leg. We're trying to keep the hands next to each other. So you've got level shoulders and folding at the hips here, so we're leading with our heart. If you like, you can try to reach and grab your foot here, just to give yourself a little extra stretch. If it's a bit too intense on the hamstrings, you can point your toes like this, and that's going to take a bit of the tension off of the hamstrings. I'm going to hold this for slightly longer, just allowing the legs to adjust to this stretch. Alrighty, inhale, coming out. And in between the two legs, you can start with our knees together like this. Our feet a comfortable distance away from the hips, and just allow them to fold out into Balankonasana, or the butterfly posture. So you want to bring the soles of your feet up as if you're reading a book. Inhale, pinch your shoulder blades together here as you straighten the upper body, and exhale, leading with the heart, just seeing how far you can go before you feel the need to slouch to get a little bit more stretch. But just listening to your body here, seeing how far you can go, just folding at the hips. Using the exhale to give yourself that little element of relaxation to help you go deeper into the posture. And using the inhale to push into the stretch, to expand into the stretch. So you can do this for 3 to 5 breaths. And pushing up, stretching out that left leg here now, tucking in the right, starting off in line with the hips. You can ground your hip bones a little bit here. Inhale up, exhale, twist and fold, leading with the heart. Once again, holding for about 3 to 5 breaths now. Nice, slow, deep breaths as we wind down towards the end of the practice. And coming up, final hamstring stretch, both feet together. Inhale up, exhale, leading with the heart, allowing the hands to fall where they will. It's important that you just keep your upper body nice and straight as this sort of hinge or lever. Again, just using this extended period of stillness just to observe the breath, noticing what pops up, where you feel the breath, and how the breath itself feels. Inhale, coming out of the posture. And we're just going to end the practice with a little breathing exercise. So you're just coming into your easy posture now. You can have your legs crossed. And we're going to do about 12 rounds of alternate nostril breathing just to balance the energies within ourselves and to bring ourselves to rest before the most important part of the session, Shavasana. So you're going to take your right hand out, bring your index and your middle finger towards the palm of your hand, and then you've got the 2 fingers that you'll need for this sequence. So thumb to the right nostril, deep breath in through the left, place the ring finger, and exhale in, and swap to exhale. I'm just going to do that for about 12 rounds, finishing the last round on the left nostril. Or if you're feeling yourself getting lightheaded, or out of breath, you can always just go straight into Shavasana, just lying back and letting the benefits of the practice just wash over you. So just making sure that your final breath is out of the left nostril, completing the cycle from masculine to feminine, sun and moon. When you're ready, just lying back onto your mat, allowing your mind to go blank, your breath to do as it pleases, as you surrender your practice to Shavasana, the corpse pose. And slowly returning the breath, your awareness back to the body. And slowly you can introduce elements of movement, warmth, starting with the extremities, with the fingertips and the toes. Moving your way up the body until you eventually find yourself lying on your left side, bringing your heart towards the ground. And when you're ready, you can push yourself to a cross-legged position at the front of your mat. And I'd like to thank you all for making the time to come together over the internet, to share in this practice, to stay active, to stay living through these crazy times. And it's going to be a bit weird on my own in this room, but I invite you all to send up this practice with one round of Om. You can do this in your head or in your room. It doesn't matter if you're out of tune, too loud, too quiet. It's your Om, it's your practice. Breathing in. And I hope that you all stay well. Namaste.